Today, we explore 7 terrifying times the universe tried to wipe humanity out of existence, but miraculously failed. And number 1 was an extinction-level event that we didn't even know happened until it was already over.
Number 7. The Toba super-eruption. About 74,000 years ago, humanity was almost entirely erased from existence before we even built civilization. A massive supervolcano in modern-day Indonesia suddenly exploded with the force of millions of nuclear bombs. It launched thousands of cubic kilometers of ash into the atmosphere, completely blocking out the sun. The Earth plunged into a brutal volcanic winter that lasted for years, covering the globe in ice. Plants died, oceans cooled, and the global food chain completely collapsed almost overnight. Genetic studies show that during this specific time, the human population dropped to a terrifyingly low number. Some scientists believe there were only about 3,000 humans left alive on the entire planet. We were quite literally pushed to the absolute extreme brink of total extinction. You and everyone you have ever known are descended from that one tiny group of freezing, starving survivors. The universe threw its worst natural disaster at us, and our ancestors barely made it out alive. But as you will see, the sky was preparing an even deadlier trap.
Number 6. The Carrington event. In September 1859, the Sun launched a massive invisible attack directly at Earth. A coronal mass ejection, which is a giant cloud of superheated magnetic plasma, slammed into our magnetic field. At the time, humanity had just started using telegraph machines, which were our most advanced technology. The solar storm was so incredibly powerful that telegraph wires literally burst into flames on their own. Operators received massive electric shocks just by touching their normal communication equipment. The night sky lit up with glowing auroras so bright that people woke up and started cooking breakfast, thinking it was morning. Back then, the damage was minimal simply because we did not rely on electricity. But if that exact same solar storm hit us today, the results would be apocalyptic. It would melt giant power transformers, destroy satellites, and plunge the entire globe into total darkness. Millions would die as hospitals, water pumps, and supply chains instantly completely failed. The Sun already fired its warning shot, and scientists say we are just waiting for the next one. Number 5. The Tunguska event. On a quiet morning in 1908, the sky over Siberia suddenly tore wide open. A massive rock from deep space entered the atmosphere and exploded with the terrifying force of 1,000 Hiroshima bombs. The shockwave instantly flattened over 80 million trees across a massive area of the remote forest. The high-altitude explosion was so bright that people thousands of miles away in Europe could read newspapers outside at midnight. Because the asteroid exploded over an empty, frozen wilderness, human casualties were miraculously low. But here is the chilling, terrifying reality of this event that most people don't think about. The Earth is constantly spinning on its axis at over 1,000 miles per hour. If that exact same asteroid had arrived from space just 4 hours later, the rotation would have changed everything. It would have detonated directly over the highly populated city of St. Petersburg. Millions of innocent people would have been completely vaporized in a fraction of a second. We survived this cosmic assassination attempt purely because of a microscopic cosmic delay. Number 4. The 2012 solar superstorm. We just talked about the Carrington event from the 1800s, but what you don't know is that it almost happened again very recently. In July 2012, the Sun unexpectedly erupted with one of the most violent solar storms ever recorded in human history. A massive wave of radiation and magnetic plasma blasted out into the dark void of space at terrifying speed. This storm was powerful enough to completely destroy our modern electrical grid worldwide in a matter of hours. It would have sent humanity straight back to the Dark Ages, crashing the internet and stopping all transportation.
But miraculously, the massive blast entirely missed our planet. It tore exactly through Earth's orbital path, hitting the exact spot where we had been sitting just a few days prior. If the eruption had happened just 9 days earlier, Earth would have taken a direct, catastrophic hit. NASA scientists admitted that we were incredibly lucky to survive without a single scratch. We were entirely, blissfully unaware that a cosmic bullet just grazed our heads. The universe pulled the trigger, but its aim was just slightly off. Number 3. Jupiter taking the bullet. We often look at Jupiter as just a giant, beautiful ball of gas floating far away in our solar system. But the frightening truth is, Jupiter is the only reason you are alive to watch this video right now. In 1994, astronomers watched in absolute horror as a massive comet broke apart into 21 huge pieces. These mountain-sized pieces were hurtling through space, heading directly toward the inner solar system where Earth sits. If even one of these massive fragments had hit our planet, it would have caused an instant global extinction event. But Jupiter's massive gravitational pull stepped in and acted like a giant cosmic vacuum cleaner. It grabbed the comet fragments from a distance and pulled them forcefully into its own atmosphere. The impacts created explosions so massively violent that they left dark, burning scars on Jupiter the size of Earth. Humanity literally watched a planet killer detonate right in front of our eyes through a telescope. Without Jupiter constantly taking these massive gravitational hits for us, Earth would be a barren, cratered wasteland. We owe our entire existence to a silent giant bodyguard floating in the dark. Number 2. The brightest of all time. In October 2022, deep space telescopes were suddenly blinded by a flash of unimaginable raw power. It was a gamma-ray burst, the most violent and deadly type of explosion in the entire universe. A massive star had collapsed into a black hole, shooting twin beams of pure, concentrated radiation across the cosmos. This specific burst was so incredibly intense that scientists simply named it the BOAT, the brightest of all time. The beam of deadly radiation traveled through space for 2 billion years and actually struck Earth directly. It hit our upper atmosphere and measurably disrupted the radio signals of our planet. If this explosion had happened a little closer, inside our own Milky Way galaxy, the story would end right here. A close gamma-ray burst would instantly strip away the Earth's ozone layer without warning. It would burn all life on the surface with unfiltered solar radiation and trigger a mass extinction event. The universe quite literally fired the ultimate laser beam weapon directly at our heads. But the sheer distance of deep space weakened the beam just enough to spare our lives. Number 1. Asteroid 1989 FC. The scariest near misses in history are the ones you never even see coming. In March 1989, a massive asteroid the size of a mountain came hurtling completely silently out of the dark. It crossed directly through Earth's orbit, traveling at an insane speed of over 46,000 miles per hour. If this rock had struck our planet, it would have exploded with the force of thousands of nuclear warheads. It would have created massive global tsunamis, plunged the world into a freezing dust winter, and killed billions. But the asteroid passed perfectly through the exact point in space where Earth had been just 6 hours earlier. 6 hours is an infinitesimally tiny margin of error on a cosmic scale. If you had just slept in a little late that day, the world would have ended before you even woke up. But here is the most terrifying, chilling detail of this entire story. Because the asteroid came straight from the direction of the bright sun, our telescopes were completely blind to it. We did not discover the asteroid until 9 full days after it had already passed us by. The universe almost wiped us out entirely, and humanity didn't even know we were in danger.
We are floating blindfolded through a dark, violent ocean of cosmic hazards. Which of these terrifying close calls scares you the most? Tell me in the comments, and make sure to hit subscribe before our cosmic luck finally runs out.